I hear David makes good coffee. That's the rumor.
Viene de Brasil el café.
You guys like our new microphones? Isn't it so fancy? So what's cool is this part was 3D printed by our students.
Oh, nice.
So like and designed to perfectly fit within the parameters of the, isn't that neat? Very neat. All right, so we are, as all Coffee with the Principals, we are recording this and it's live streaming, so we're just waiting for that to get set up. And then Mr. Corcoran in the back, he'll give me a thumbs up when we're set to go. We're ready to go. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is such an exciting week because at Kennedy High School, this is Irish Week. Monday, actual St. Patrick's Day, was pretty lit, right?
Super lit.
Mr. Hernandez and I like to use kid terms incorrectly just to annoy the children. I think we got it right that time, though. I think it was lit. Some of the staff members on campus, they had a competition where if they wore more pieces of Kennedy flair, they got more points. If they gave off any kind of leprechaun vibe, they got plus 10 points. The winning court was actually this court, the 800-900 building. In the back, Mr. C. And they actually got their prize yesterday, so admin makes them lunch. That's for prize. And we know food is, it is a big motivator. It's probably the biggest motivator. Okay, but we thought what would be really, really special today during Irish Week is to talk through some of the Kennedy traditions that exist that are very storied, that have existed for a very long time. As you know, Kennedy became Kennedy High School in 1964, and so there is a lot of history that comes behind that. So we're going to do that. We're going to go through that. And then we also are very proud and privileged to have our new school resource officer, Officer Perez, with us today. There he is. Whoop, whoop, whoop. If you can't see him, he is the guy in the La Palma police uniform. If you can't spot him, there he is right there. So we thought it would be a great opportunity for you to get to know him a little bit. If you had any questions, we had, the privilege of having Officer Wilson for so long. Don't worry about him. He's now Detective Wilson. So that's very good, right? And we are very, very glad to welcome Officer Perez into the fold. He's been on campus every day, and he's supported us, and it's been an incredible transition. So we're glad to introduce him to you guys. So let's get started. Let's talk our traditions. All right, so where did we get our name? So we officially opened our doors September 14th, 1964. That's my birthday.
Woo woo.
Not 1964, though. Don't do that. Don't be mean like that. So while the school was under construction, so while the school was being built, we had the unfortunate assassination of John F. Kennedy. So while the school was being built, in our recent memory, one of the presidents of our United States of America was assassinated. And it inspired Walker students to go through the process of naming Kennedy High School, Kennedy High School. Prior to that, the plan was to name Kennedy High School Centralia High School, to follow in the tradition of naming the high school the same name as the feeder elementary school district name. So for example, like at Savannah High School, one of their feeder elementary is Savannah. So they're to follow in that tradition. It is believed that we are the first school to name ourselves John F. Kennedy High School following his assassination. There were other schools after that came soon after that, and it is believed, history says that we were the first school to become John F. Kennedy High School in honor of President Kennedy. So that's the first piece of info. Let's go to the next one. All right, so our mascot has gone through some trials and tribulations. Look at him, way back. Yeah, way back. He's got like the stripy pants. He's got a little shamrock on his vest. He's got the hat. He has the shillelagh. We'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. So this is the first. We then went to this. This is actually on our gym floor. This logo. This is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish logo. And this is copyrighted. So this is actually a no-no. So this, we have gone to kind of removing this emblem, this mascot, because this is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and really your mascot can't copy another one. So you can see the similarities. So this is now our new guy. Here he is. But you can see there's like that similarities, right? He's got that kind of fight stance. He's ready to win for the team, win for the school. He's got that nice Irish orange beard. There he is right there. So this is our new one. If you see anything with that, that does mean it's pretty old. And we are actually in the process. Every year we talk about how much would it cost to replace our gym floor and do that whole thing. So we are in kind of thinking about that. And then way back, this was our guy. So our mascot through the years. Let's go. This guy, no, he looks so happy. He's just happy to be alive. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so most of our traditions, fortunately, were captured in the very first student handbook, which was called the shillelagh. Now, here it is right here, a copy of it. This is like a copy print of it. I'm not sure what it looked like way back then, but it's a shillelagh is the walking stick that accompanies the rocking chair. And I'll show you the rocking chair in just a minute. But all of the different traditions and histories that we're pulling from were first published by students. They wrote out all of this stuff in our very first handbook. Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, just doing a deep dive into the shillelagh, it was really interesting, and I felt like I actually got closer to Kennedy, just looking at all these traditions and how the first group of students didn't even have a senior class. So they really had to make all of these up as they went along. So this was really cool.
Cool story. About a week and a half ago, the very first ASB president of Kennedy High School contacted me, and he wants to come on campus with some of the alumni who graduated with him, and they want to do a tour. They want to visit ASB students because they are planning for their reunion. And I won't dishonor them and tell them like how old they are, but and so we're excited that we're going to get to welcome the very first ASB president that served for Kennedy High School, and he's going to come on campus very soon. All right, this is in my office. Has anybody been in my office? The two naughty people have been in my office.
I've also been in trouble.
Yeah, the three naughty people. Okay, so this is in my office. And when I first came to Kennedy and walked into the office, I thought first I was like, oh, look at all of this oldie time wood paneling. Not sure how any of my design or decor is going to look good on here. And then I saw the chair, and I said, what about this chair? And Dr. Sadhu said, nobody sits in that chair. And I was like, got it, check. I wasn't planning on it. It's perfect. But as you dive into the history of the chair, not only is it in the shillelagh, that first handbook, but the very first ASB president shared the history of this chair. So this chair is brought out onto the stage at graduation every year. So it's put in the back of a truck, and it's put on the stage at graduation every single year. And the reason for that is it's really a symbol of Kennedy High School. And it's a symbol because it is an exact replica of the chair that John F. Kennedy used while he was president in the White House. So many of you might know that he was a member of the Navy. He was a Navy officer, and he got injured. And one of the injuries was a back injury. And in order to help his back injury, it was rocking in a rocking chair. And so he had something that looked exactly like this in the White House. This replica was gifted to Kennedy High School by the Kennedy family. So they created a replica of the chair and gifted it to Kennedy High School. So it's from the Kennedy family, obviously following his death, because that's when our school was formed. And no one ever sits in this chair. It is a testament to John F. Kennedy himself, and only he gets to sit in that chair. So that is in my office. You're welcome to come by and take a look at it. And it does come out on the stage at graduation. And what you see right here, this is the shillelagh. So this is an Irish walking stick. It goes with the chair everywhere. So on graduation, you're going to see it on the stage. How many of you have seniors? Anybody have a senior? So you'll see it on the stage. The walking stick will be with it, and it's symbolic of John F. Kennedy and our Irish traditions.
If you can say,
How old is the chair?
It is the same age as the school, so it was gifted right when we opened the school. Yeah.
about 60 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like, it doesn't have wear. Like, I truly think maybe nobody has ever sat in the chair. Like, it doesn't have, you know how, like, wood chairs will have kind of that worn on the handles? It really doesn't have that. We dust it, put the shillelagh on it. That's it. It just sits in the corner of my office. Nobody gets to sit in it.
Yeah, bonus points. If you can say shillelagh, you can get another pastry.
Oh, yeah. All right. So this is our Blarney Stone. So how many of you have been to Ireland? I hesitate to tell you this story because it's like a little bit scary. But when you do go to Ireland, there is a tradition to kiss the Blarney Stone. And I'm going to recommend don't do that. I have a very, very good friend who immigrated from Ireland when she was 19 years old, and she actually lived in the county of Cork, which is where the Blarney Stone is. And apparently the high school students, being high school students, had a tradition of going out and urinating on the Blarney Stone. So don't kiss the Blarney Stone if you go to Ireland. You heard it here first. I don't know. She said she never did that when she was in high school, but I certainly hope not.
Yeah, I'll test it out to make sure.
Yeah, he'll figure it out for us. Mr. Hernandez is good for that. So the first graduating senior class found and placed our stone, which we call the Blarney Stone, in 1966 in the senior circle. Now, actually, this senior circle is a relocated location. The senior circle in 1966 was actually in a different location, but it's the same stone. So they moved the stone when they wanted to relocate the senior circle. Now the senior circle is shaped like a shamrock. So the stone sits in the center, and if, like, on a bird's eye view, or if you get up on a really tall ladder, which I tried to make Mr. Corcoran do, to get the shamrock shape, you can see the shape. So it's got this green border around it, and you can see the shamrock shape. But really, it's only if you can see up from the top. So this green border, you can see how it kind of bends because it's starting to make that shamrock shape. In the shillelagh, this is what they said. So this is the very first student handbook. This is what they've said. Our Blarney Stone has grown to become a symbol of Irish individuality. It has become a representation of the Irish past tradition. For in our young school, again, remember, they had just opened, this is the oldest tradition landmark or symbol we possess. And so that is the Blarney Stone.
And this has been chipped a lot. So in the shillelagh, they actually mentioned the stone was originally 2 tons. But over the course of the years, with vandalism or whatnot, it got shrunk to smaller size. So, I mean, it's still pretty big, but it was much larger in the past.
Yeah. These bricks around the bottom, these bricks are stamped bricks. They have names in them. At some point, you can see along the bricks that we've sort of moved on from that tradition. You'll see, because they're also dated, so there's a certain point you stop seeing the dates on the bricks. But you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but you can see we actually have more room for additional bricks. So one of the things as we move forward, and I get to continue to be the principal of Kennedy High School, as they'd like to bring back that brick tradition, because it is very cool to see, your name in stone, and it's pretty cool.
And those bricks have the senior mottos of each year.
Yeah. You want to take this one?
Yeah, so I wanted to really briefly go over what an alma mater is, because I personally didn't even know it, and I was in band for 4 years when I was in high school. So really an alma mater is kind of like a song to unite the community, students. It's something that alumni, past students, current students, and future students will also share together. It's a song that the band usually plays at assemblies, football games, any kind of time that there's a lot of Kennedy students, they play this song. So our tune is actually held to the Navy hymn because we wanted to honor John F. Kennedy and his rank in the Navy as commander. So if you ever hear the alma mater at any sort of sporting event, it's really similar to the Navy hymn. And our first choir class, actually, led by Mr. Hain, wrote the lyrics to our alma mater. So you can imagine, like I said, these students came here, first class, they built the foundation for generations of students to come with this song. So actually,
You're going to sing it?
I don't know if I warmed up for singing, but I'll just read it out in the most fighting Irish spirit possible way. Our school, that grand old Kennedy, we praise thy name with loyalty. So true to thee, though trials there be, she'll always be so dear to me. Green, white, gold, we'll fight to gain the crown of victory and fame. The fighting Irish, to win our fight for victory, good sportsmanship and honor too, will be supreme in all we do. We'll be remembered like the flame, a living tribute to the name.
So this is on the gym wall. Every assembly that we have ends with a request for our students to stand. Our band plays the alma mater. Nobody really knows the words anymore, even though they're on the wall of the gym. But our students that know, and by the time they're seniors, they know. So it's kind of a gradual growth. Our freshmen don't really know what to do, and then as they grow, they eventually know what to do. But they are asked to do this for the K. So as the alma mater is going, they do a K. And if you've graduated from Kennedy, it's a K like this, because you've flown away. So that is the alma mater.
Yeah, and I thought it was really cool that first choir class wrote the lyrics. So it's just a testament to these living traditions that we have here at Kennedy.
Yeah. So this was listed in the shillelagh, that first student handbook, and they called this the Irish way. And it was essentially like, how do you exist and survive at Kennedy? Who are you supposed to be when you leave at Kennedy? And we still have maxims like this, like we've transitioned to become more engage, educate, empower. But back then, in 1964, 1966, that first round of graduating seniors, this was the Irish way. And so you can see it's like, is that acrostic? Yes, I'm trying to access my English teacher mind. The acrostic. So that means it spells the Irish way. So takes part in school activities. Holds all races equal, exercises good sportsmanship. So that's the. Interests himself or herself in school government and school affairs. Respects and obeys all rules and regulations of schools. Is it obeys?
It's
There's a
obeys,
typo.
actually.
Obeys.
Yeah.
Invests in school spirit by purchasing a student body card. Supports loyally school activities and athletics. Holds traditions of school high. So there's Irish. And then way, works, cooperates, and respects faculty, appreciates all privileges granted him, yields to proper authority. Way. That from 1966 student handbook is pretty cool. The Irish way. Yeah.
Interpreting.
That's long for interpretation, so we're
Yeah. So we'll move on. It is kind of outdated, but yeah. So we also wanted to go over some of the Irish traditions or Irish-related words, themes, clubs, activities on campus. So first off, we'll go over the Shamrock. So the Shamrocks are student-led news source for Kennedy High School. They actually started in 1971. So we have some physical newspapers here, but about every quarter or so, they release a new newspaper that all the
So
students
still
write their own
going
columns.
strong.
So this is really cool. We actually have a Parent Center article. Sorry, what?
Ooh.
53 years. So we actually have a student, because they usually say volume 53, issue 1. So every volume is another year, and then issues are whatever issue it is of the year. But we actually have a Parent Center article in the current issue of the Shamrock. So
Volume 53, issue 3.
So if you want to check out what we do in here, I suggest reading it. So on the website, the goal is for the Shamrock is to bring the students, parents, and staff of Kennedy High, as well as the community of La Palma, the most current, popular, and factual news from our city, state, country, and world. And this has really evolved. Even on social media, they'll have polling because, I don't know if everybody still reads a newspaper every day with their coffee, but I still think it's a great opportunity for students to input their voice and, even have opinions about the Oscars. So it's really cool.
And I think one of the things that's really special is in an age when so many things have gone digital, and most of us are getting our news in digital platforms, and that does exist for the Shamrock as well. It is, shared out digitally as well. But the idea that we're holding on to the tradition of an actual physical newspaper itself is also very special, I think. And that the name, like a newspaper at Kennedy High School will always be called the Shamrock. It cannot be called another name as written in the student handbook. So it must always be called that. We have our very own Shamrock leader here in the back. He's the one that supports us at the Coffee with the Principal right back there. So it's just a great tradition that we're very proud to honor. And I do want to say that as while we are making sure that we honor tradition through a physical copy of a newspaper, our students are also taking news and taking that news content forward into the 21st century, into 2025, and they are working on creating podcasts as well. And so there is information about how to listen to our own students doing podcasts, and they're very, very cool as well. So it's a great thing for our students to be a part of.
Shout out to the Green Room.
That's right. All right, band. I would just like hand this to you. You could deliver the. No, you're not. Yeah, no, you're not. You're RTC, but you're everywhere. So I feel like maybe you're a band. Okay, so the Shamrock Regiment is our school band. Again, outlined in the handbook. It will always be called the Shamrock Regiment. It doesn't get to be called anything else. And our band participates in pep rallies, sporting events, assemblies. At our Monday Irish assembly, they played an Irish song, and then they did the alma mater. So like they're in all of the assemblies. And what's incredibly cool is every 4 years, our band goes to Ireland and marches in a St. Patrick's Day parade in Ireland. So every 4 years, and it's not every year because it takes a massive effort to get the entire band regiment there. So every 4 years is about as much as we can handle, but it is like, that is really incredible. So like marching. This is actually them at Disneyland, but we could sub in a picture. We do have pictures of them marching in St. Patrick's Day for the parade. Want to talk about this one?
Yeah, so we have our yearbook every year that we have it named the Eternal Flame. If you ever walked inside of MP1 and looked kind of like around the walls, we have every single yearbook dating from the first ever one and all their covers. So I wish I had a picture of it. However, this past year, ours was named Reflections of Our Past. So because it was our 60th anniversary, it went through lots of different traditions, maybe staff who've been a student here and now a teacher. Just all sorts of things. Like I never heard about that did donkey basketball. So just old traditions and activities they used to do. So students get to take part of this and write the content in there and kind of take the direction of where they want to highlight for that calendar year of the school, and then the students then can purchase it and have that keepsake for the rest of their life.
And according to the student handbook, it can only be called the Eternal Flame. Like it says, our yearbook is called the Eternal Flame.
In bold.
Yeah, in bold, underline. Okay, another thing that's really special about the Emerald Chain is this idea of honoring our juniors through the senior graduation. So this is kind of special. So the Emerald Chain, which was created by that very first class, that very first senior graduating class back in the 1960s, the Emerald Chain is to honor the 10 top junior girls and boys. They are selected for their GPA, their sophomore year and the first semester of their junior year. And the reason why first semester is the cutoff is because they're then selected. So we now know who our junior Emerald Chain students are. These 20 juniors wear white robes. So they wear a white grad robe. And they stand in 2 lines between the graduating seniors who receive their diplomas of graduation. So it's a very, very cool thing. And this tradition has existed since the very first graduating class.
And this is a picture of our current.
And this is a picture of our current ones, who, if you're at graduation, you will see they are juniors. So really, one of the things that makes Kennedy such a special place is our alumni. So those people who are former Fighting Irish that come back to us in some way. There are celebrities and athletes and artists who have attended Kennedy throughout history, and that's really important, of course. But honestly, what we care about more is those graduates of Kennedy that come back to continue to serve our La Palma community as members of Kennedy. So if you go to the next, here are some of so this is from last year's yearbook. These are current teachers, coaches here at Kennedy that were previous Kennedy students. So Pat O'Hearn, he's a PE teacher. He was class of 1982. There's his graduating picture right there. Pretty incredible. Mr. Jeff Howe, we were hoping he'd be with us today. Mr. Jeff Howe is the assistant principal. He supports juniors, and then he supports a portion of our senior or freshman class. He is a graduate class of 1987. He was actually Mr. Irish, which is another tradition that a lot of schools have, where they name a Mr. and Mrs. Irish who are voted on by the staff members of this person who represents the ideals of the school and the expectations of the school. So he was voted Mr. Irish in 1987. He was also a teacher here on campus. He taught social studies. He was a coach. Then he left and did some assistant principal work in other schools in the district, and then he came back, and he's now an assistant principal here. So that's pretty incredible. Mr. Britt Johnson, he teaches social studies. You can see him there. You can see Mr. Reeds there, Ms. Tovar, Kirchner, Mr. Peralta, Jankowski, Staten, Di Jones, Sable, Lee, Urbanos, Van Burkham, Rotherham, Perales, like so many people come back and continue to serve the La Palma community. Here are some of those famous people we talked about. Everyone's like, ooh, John Stamos. There they are.
Just wanted to highlight some of the famous people.
Famous people, yeah. But if you go back one slide, and we don't need to, those are the true famous people.
Maybe we can get John Stamos here. No,
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just wanted to thank you for coming. We just wanted to go over those traditions. I don't think it's ever been presented before.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting. Hopefully we can present it more to future generations of Kennedy
And
students.
today, during advisement, because it's Irish Week, our students are doing a similar thing. So they have a similar presentation, and then they have a little quiz that they get to take at the end and that kind of thing, so that we have those traditions. We wanted to make sure you knew those. Kennedy is a really special place, and we wanted to honor that. We also want to make sure that you have an opportunity to get to know our new school resource officer, Officer Perez. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring you up.
Thank you.
All right. You want to give us 3 fun facts about yourself?
Yeah, I love music. I've been a DJ for probably over 25 years now, because I started in high school and I graduated in 95, so it's been a while. I love working on cars, and that's because my father was a mechanic. And yeah, that's the 3.
Those were 3 fun facts. All right. Anybody have any questions for Officer Perez?
And I've been here at La Palma for 2 years, but I come from another department.
Yeah.
Questions?
Yes.
Can we paint yellow lines outside the parking lot so we can like say stop here, like, keep it clear, so we can enter and exit safely?
On the actual street or on the turn? That would have to be with the city.
Yeah,
Because
city.
we've talked about that before in meetings we've had. Because I totally understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Where it up and down north and south on Walker, it says no parking, no stopping at any time, and everybody stops there. And it's kind of hard because once there's a line and everybody comes up to the front of the school, there's nowhere to go. They stop and everybody just forms a line. So that's been the back and forth of like, is there any other way they can come in through? And then having the Walker across the street and their traffic, which is great because they stagger the times. But yeah, we do get a traffic jam, and I wish there was like a better answer to give you where, yeah, we're going to label this, or you can't stop there, or we just start giving everybody tickets. But I don't think that would be the answer. I think we just need to come up with a certain way of people dropping off their kids and then just moving along. But
And I think that if if it's a safety concern, that the city is the one responsible for managing the streets, right? They police the streets, but the city manages the streets. So that would be a really good avenue for that. It's a good question.
yeah, it is.
Love that.
And trust me, I'm going to go back and then I talk to the
Yeah.
chief about it, because we are always talking about ways that we can
Yeah.
deter people from, because we've had accidents actually where people just pull over and there's big rigs behind them. And I think it was almost an accident there one time, but what we tell drivers, because I have pulled people over, and I tell them because what they feel is that, well, no one's in front of me, I'm just gonna pull over, I'm good. But they never realize that behind them, there's like 30 vehicles behind them. So
Yeah.
now you're impeding traffic. One, the signs are up, so technically you're not supposed to be there. But if no one's behind you, no one's in front of you, well, you're not bothering anyone. But no one looks back, and there's like 20, 30 cars where now you're impeding traffic. You can't do that.
I think we're talking about two different things. You're talking about the entrance, you turn right over, right, into the drop-off zone.
Up here.
I was talking about like, kind of like in front of the fire station, you have the two lines. It says, don't block the driveway. Like that driveway, yeah, keep clear. Like, I'm talking about the other entrance.
Are you saying like
Into
the
the main
exit out of
lot.
the parking lot?
Yeah,
Like a do not block section?
yeah, like stop here.
So
Yeah,
what-
is
what
that
about
over there
blockade
by
is
our
that?
station? No.
No, I'm sorry. No, the Kennedy lot. Like when you're coming in from Walker, that's
Mhm.
the drop-off zone. Not the one that wraps around, the one that enters the lot.
Okay.
If you know what I'm
The
talking
one
about.
past the driveway into the school. I think the next entrance, because it gets blocked and people can't go in and out. Is there a way to where, like
Oh,
before you
okay, I
before
get
you
it. Where to
exit,
keep clear, kind of like what the fire has, where it's like you can't block that because someone needs to
I
go
think
in
it's
and
a,
out.
I think it's a great idea.
I
And
get it
that's to
too,
push,
and that would be
yeah,
with
push
the
on the
city
city,
to put,
yeah.
put that on there and paint the floor.
And the good thing about, the La Palma community is I do know that our Chief Guerrero, has direct communication with the city manager and the mayor frequently, all the time. So if Officer Perez takes that back and talks to Chief Guerrero about that and makes that, proposal, it's a possibility, right? And that's where these things come that just make our life better. That's why having a school resource officer around is so valuable, because it's that link between school and our police department, that link between school and city. It's very, very important.
And so I'll bring that up to
Yeah.
him, and that way when they have their meeting with the city, which they do every month, they can bring that up and say, hey, this is
Yeah.
what parents are thinking about, what they're concerned about, and it would make a big difference as far as safety and getting in and out of that lot.
Yeah.
especially if it's a red light, a lot of people, I mean, there's a lot of drivers very courteous and they leave the opening, but a lot of drivers just
Don't, and
continue forward.
push through the light,
Let
yeah.
let them in and out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Other questions? That was a good one. Come on, you got him here. He's trapped. Yeah.
Hablando de la misma situación, no sé si es posible en la salida del otro lado.
Ujú.
Ha habido ocasión, he visto que la otra vez hubo un accidente, como no sé si es posible que esté una persona, a ver que nada más se puede girar para...
Hacer una izquierda al salir del driveway. Ajá.
Bueno, la otra vez ya van dos ocasiones, yo salgo y para ir para todo derecho, el carro que sale acá se mete para acá y por poco ya van dos veces que me chocan. La otra vez sí chocaron ahí, está bien feo, porque no sé si es posible que tuviera una persona ahí para que le diga que solo puede, ajá, a la derecha.
Oh, okay.
Ahí sí.
Yeah, because what she's saying is that there's two exits on the south side. And what happens is there's a sign there that says you could only make a right to go westbound on Crescent. But on the other driveway, sometimes people will just go the other way, and so they cross each other. And it's happened where they've had accidents. So it'd be more of us also monitoring
yeah.
and being in that area.
Yeah.
Again, we always have 2 officers on patrol and a sergeant. We're a small department, so we don't have that many, but that's also my job also to be
Yeah.
around the school. So I'll take that into consideration and just be out there when the kids
Yeah.
are getting out.
Yeah. And you see them out, I think, in this center, right? You see them there, and then you see them, and just maybe it's just on the
On
other
that
side, too.
yeah. But I've seen it too.
And and part of that is because, like, one of our desires to keep our students safe, and so that's where the bulk of the students are, and that's where they're exiting, and so that's like through that community policing, community support mindset. It's that student piece, but yes, definitely cars are. It's like that important resident entrance as well. Other questions? You got him here. He's trapped. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know exactly what you guys do on campus, so can you just give me like what your day entails?
Well, with the transition, and we had Officer Wilson, now Detective Wilson, and we're going over what we usually or are supposed to do, our job duties as SROs. I'm not only in charge or the SRO for JFK, but also for Walker and for the 3 elementaries, which is Miller, Luther, and Los Coyotes. So we present at those schools, and technically what we're supposed to do is be at the school, usually the high school, the junior high, but then we go to the other schools also. And then it's more of being available not only to staff, but to students, and having a presence at the schools, being here during lunch, being here at these meetings.
Yeah.
Any concerns that they have, but what my goal is to actually hit every school every day. And sometimes it's impossible because I'm also listening to the radio. So if you guys see me, I'm not having like a stroke or anything, but emergency stuff comes on here, and technically I'm not on patrol, but if I hear something that I have to go because we are a
Yeah.
small department, then I have to leave. So if something comes up, or last week we had
Yeah.
a barricaded suspect on the south side, then we're all there, and we have other agencies that come and help
Yeah.
out. So that's when I have to notify
Yeah.
admin and let them know, hey, we
There's
might go on
certain
lockdown.
codes that he'll hear in his ear, like you'll hear him kind of tilt his head a little bit, and there's certain codes that he's hearing, and it means all hands on deck. So like everybody, whatever they're doing, you report, you go. And you know, one of the great things about having a dedicated school resource officer and not just having to call La Palma PD, even though it is a small department, and even when maybe he's not on duty that day and we do have to call La Palma PD, our response time is like 40 seconds or something like that. But what's so incredible about having a dedicated SRO is, like, I can text him, tell me what you know. Like, we are hearing sirens. Tell me what you know. And like, this is the situation. And then the chief calls, and this is the situation. It's like, how can we? So for example, last week, off campus, not a concern, not an immediate concern for Kennedy itself or Walker, but myself and Dr. Sasai, we talked and we said, yeah, but it's close, right? So let's just have our area. So a level 1 is what we went on last week. A level 1 just means our area is secure. So it just means we monitor, and we're always sort of at a level 1 at a school. Like, you have to badge in, right? You have to, and that's because we're monitoring entrance and monitoring exit. And so this time we were just really vigilant about also monitoring exits, because we wanted to encourage the students to not go that way. So we were prohibiting them from going down that way where they had asked us to keep students away. And so, yeah, it's just an incredible experience to have a dedicated SRO, to be able to have that immediate contact. What's also incredible is Officer Wilson has been able to participate in some of just our school-related things. For example, he was a judge for our soapbox speech competition, so he got to hear our students delivering their soapbox speeches. I think you're planning on coming to a couple of our capstone
Yes.
showcase days to be able to be a panel member and listen to our seniors talk about their Kennedy story. And so it's that relationship that's able to be built, which is incredible.
So if you have any more questions,
Yeah?
I'm here. And
It's a lot of pressure. It's the uniform.
yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that I've worked at other schools where the uniform is different, but per our policies, and we've talked about it, is that they want us in this uniform, being that we're a small department, and if something was to happen, I have to engage. When at other bigger departments, hey, they wear a polo and jeans and their tennis shoes, which I would love to do, but I can't, because any moment I have to go in there. But aside from the uniform, in reality, I'm here, and it's not to get the kids in trouble or anything like that, because that's the last resort. We would like for the school to be the handle, but there's certain situations where we have to step in. But for the most part, we want it to be where they have options, and they have, like, the last thing I want to do, especially because they're underage, is for them to have a record. That's not my job. My job is to keep them out of that, give them options, give them other tools that they can do to change maybe a behavior or their ways, so that they could be successful and stay out of the system. Because when you're young, you don't want that, because that follows you everywhere.
Yeah. I think one of the great ways to describe a school resource officer role is that community policing mindset, right? It's building that community, it's having that relationship with students, even students who might be exploring some of those behaviors that we think might lead them down the path. Being able to engage with Officer Perez, or at the time Officer Wilson, does oftentimes like redirect them into a path that we think is going to lead to a brighter future for them. And so it is powerful because of that. We're very, very glad that it's able to continue. You should know that part of this program, his release from La Palma PD to be able to support, is through a grant. It's a grant that is every year applied for by the La Palma Foundation. It's a group of incredible La Palma business leaders that meet. They raise money. They put on our Every 15 Minutes event that happens every other year right before prom. So they're an incredible organization, and they're one of the reasons why Kennedy Walker and our feeder elementary schools has the privilege of having Officer Perez as a school resource officer. So I do want to give them a shout out because, yeah, that's important.
Yeah. And if anyone ever has a question, or you know what, you're going to save it for later and you want to talk to me one-on-one, you're more than welcome to do so. If you ever want to have a meeting here, just parents or
Yeah.
with your child and parents, I've done it before here with David. So if you guys need anything, you just let them know and they'll contact me, or you can contact the La Palma Police Station directly and just say, hey, this is non-emergent. I just like to speak to Officer Perez. I'm here Monday through Thursdays, but we are going to change it up because they want me here at least some Fridays. So I'll do Tuesday through Friday just to cover the end of the week.
Yeah. That's great. Any other questions? Yeah.
Sorry, for the OC sheriffs, do you have a training in Irvine for fentanyl? Do you guys offer that too?
As a matter of fact, the principal at Luther wants us to hold 2 presentations, one on the social media and the internet and the dangers, and another one on drugs. So we have one that we present, but it's to the 6th graders on the PIY, the police interaction with youth. But if you'd like to, we could do a drug presentation for parents, which would include fentanyl and all the drugs that are out there.
Yeah, we did like a phasing one not too long ago.
Okay.
But OC sheriff, if you call them, they'll come over for free. Like if you guys don't have a presentation or
Got it. Okay.
so you can or I can give you a contact.
That would be perfect. Thank you. And I'll do it because that would be a good presentation, especially if they have one there already and they can come out and present it. I'm sure they have a lot of resources.
Yeah. One of the other things I want to highlight, I know we're kind of wrapping up here, but I want to also just highlight one of Officer Perez's roles is also to support our school with our safety and emergency response plan. So every year we update our school safety plan. It's a requirement for all schools to do that. So you update your safety plan. And one of the things that he does is review the safety plan and look at it and really determine, is this effective? Is like, look at resources, look at egress, entrance, like how are students exiting in the event of emergency, look at where the location might be, where if there was an emergency where we had to get students off campus, where would that location be? And that's one of the things that our school resource officer supports with. And then they actually sign off on that safety plan. So they've engaged with that material, they've looked at it, because the reality is, while Mr. Jeff Howe, who is our safety administrator, he's incredible at what he does, but he does not have that law enforcement background, right? He doesn't have necessarily that emergency response mindset. So being able to utilize our school resource officer in La Palma PD to be able to support us with that response so we can ensure in the awful event of an emergency that we are able to respond and we respond appropriately. And so I think that's also an incredible thing. I don't know if that's talked about enough, but I think that's important too. Any others? All right, if there's no more, we are going to officially end this coffee with the principal. Oh, you have other things at the end,
Yeah.
right? Because we have LCAP tonight. Who's joining me at LCAP tonight? Yes.
Really quickly, I wanted to go over some of the upcoming events. So tonight, LCAP, we'll see you there at the district office. That'll be from 6 to 7:30. You should have got an email from Dr. Sidhu regarding the location and meeting time of your focus group. More excitingly, I
Yeah,
would say.
more importantly,
Yeah, next week is spring break, so
staff is probably more excited about it than your students are.
yeah. Unfortunately for the parents, they might have to cook more meals
Yeah.
during the day for your kids at
Sorry,
home.
for a week, they're yours. We'll take them back, but for a week, they're yours.
And then, excitingly, in this room on April 2nd, we'll have the IB students having their Project Mosaic art exhibition. So this is something that they came to me to have. And they wanted to ask parents and community members to attend. They're going to be doing an art exhibition. It's the first one, so they wanted to do something to hopefully gain traction and have for the future years. So I'll be adding more information on social media, Parent Square, our Sunday announcements, but just wanted to announce that. And it'll be from 3:30 to 4:30 here. Then after spring break, right off the bat, we'll have another LCAP meeting, so we will see you there. And then most importantly, Steamapalooza. I can't say enough about how excited I am about Steamapalooza. It's on Saturday, April 5th from 9 to 1, and it'll be at Magnolia High School. Last year it was at Loera, so this year it's at Magnolia. Make sure you're at Magnolia. This is an awesome way to check out what all the district is offering.
Yeah.
You can come and stop by the Kennedy table. We'll have some cool swag to give you. And just kind of take a sneak peek at all our different programs too. I know our Kite AI program's usually participating there. Yeah, Mr. Corcoran and the Shamrock will be there. I know sometimes our Friday Night Live and the Tobacco Use Prevention Education booth will be there. Just an awesome way to showcase what we're doing across the whole district. And so we'll be excited to see you there.
Yeah. April's super, super busy too. As you remember, prom is in April, incredibly busy. We have an inaugural, the first ever IB Film Festival is in April. Mr. Corcoran, what's the date of our IB Film Festival?
Monday, April 21st.
Monday, April 21st. It's free. You can come and watch incredible students and their IB films that they have made. It's going to be a green carpet affair. They're going to be dressed. Yeah, of course. It's not going to be a red carpet affair. Come on.
I went to Men's Warehouse just for this. Okay.
Oh, did you get a green tuxedo?
No. Green bow tie.
Mr. Corcoran, green tuxedo. Okay. He says he'll look into it. You heard him, so it was kind of a passive confirmation. But
And then also right around the corner, our capstone, our senior showcase. So all our seniors participate in Mike Kennedy's story, and we're looking for parents and community members to come and check out these presentations. So we have 3 dates available: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, April 7th, 8th, and 10th. And this is open to all of you. We really want you, whether you don't have a senior or not, this is an awesome way to kind of get involved with the capstone, check out what it is, and then support your incoming students or your senior to be with their presentation once it comes up.
so you could sign up for all 3 days if you happen to have all 3 mornings available. We would love to have you all 3 days. We'll start with a meeting at 7:30 a.m. on MP1. In MP1, if you happen to do all 3 days, you really only have to come to that meeting the first day that you attend. The presentations start at 8 a.m. They go till 9:10. So every single day, a group of seniors will be presenting their Kennedy story to a panel. If you choose to participate, you become a part of the panel. So you get to listen to the incredible stories that our students have, the learning that they've done, and how that's transferred into the goals they have after they leave Kennedy High School. It's an incredible experience. We hope that you can find some time, even if it's just one day, that you can come and be a panel. We would love to see you. We have obviously all teachers, all classified staff will be sitting on panels that day, but it is so nice for another face to be on the panel as well. It's an incredible experience for our seniors. And so you'll have a folder, you'll know exactly what to do, you'll have a rubric that you use to give them some feedback on their presentation. Don't worry, there's no grading. You don't have to be responsible for that, but it's just some feedback that you can give them.
And who wouldn't want to see their baby do a little presentation?
Yeah.
And then this is the flyer for the art exhibition, Project Mosaic. That'll be here on April 2nd. So you'll see it in the Sunday newsletter that I send out every Sunday. Not this Sunday. The Sunday before we come back, I'll be sending it out. So
No newsletter this Sunday.
yeah.
It'll be
If you
the
look
Sunday
forward
we
to it, I'm
come
so
back.
sorry.
Yeah, if you look forward to my letters, we're sorry.
And I think that actually will now wrap up our coffee with the principal. So again, thank you so much for attending. We'll stick around if you have any questions. Feel free to grab more coffee, pastries, please. Oranges.
And
Thank
if you joined us online, thank you.